He just came in with a bouquet for me and a little teddy bear for me, saying, "This reminds me of you," and a box of chocolates for the lady of the house. And I was just swept off my feet.
When we travel, we get that. Are you guys twins? And we're like, okay.
Really? I'm sorry, it's been 21 years. I can say that I know a lot of marriages that have broken up. The straight marriage is faster than ours has stayed strong. To say the things he truly feels, and not the words of one who kneels. Let the record show we took the blows, but we did it our way.
As of June 2025, same sex marriages are still not legalized in India. Yet, under this cloud of uncertainty, there is a love story, a beautiful love story that has been flourishing. The love story of Jiji and Vishal. Same sex marriage is still not legalized in India, yet here you are, a wonderful couple. How does it really feel when you know that your relationship is not legalized, your relationship is not recognized by the system? It is invisible.
Yes, it does get frustrating. It does get sad because I'll give an example. Whenever we travel abroad, because we're legally married in the USA, we got married in San Francisco, and whenever we travel abroad, we can apply for a visa to a country as a family. We can stand in the same immigration lines, but you land back in your own country, and that's where you're segregated and told that, sorry, we don't recognize you as a family because you're not in the eyes of the law. I think it's the love for each other that keeps us going.
But of course, marriage is much more than love, right? Because marriage involves inheritance, the rights which come with that relationship.
Being my spouse, unfortunately, I don't know whether what I inherit, if I inherit, goes to him, because the law can actually work in such a way where my cousins or my family members could actually contest because we are not legally married to each other. So, I mean, of course, we have to go through the system of writing a will and leaving back what is mine. Okay, we can't take investment policies together. We can't take insurance policies where he is my nominee. So these,
Why don't you tell her about the car incident?
the car incident, yes. I remember this was during the lockdown and we had to, give the car for servicing and we needed to rent a car. So during the rental procedure, because the rent is on my name, the house is on my name, okay, that we've rented, and Vishal just couldn't get a delivery there. And we tried telling them, the car company, that listen, I mean, we don't want to step out because of the COVID situation and we don't want to expose ourselves because of the health risks. And I remember the company just flatly refused because they're like, sorry, sir, but we can't, because his address proof is that of his mother's address, whereas my address proof was the one where we were living, but I couldn't get the house in both our names together.
Right.
So the house
So,
was being.
yeah, so whether it was getting a rental agreement together or getting a simple thing, which is an easy thing for a straight couple, just, I mean, if I were married to you, I could get the car delivered to your house or my house, depending where we lived.
Yes.
But that just became an upheaval, and we wrote to the company, we asked them politely, we sent our marriage certificate,
Proof.
but to no avail. And this is just one of the incidents. I mean,
yeah.
it's something we face every day.
Between all these incidents that you have been facing each day, something which really stands out in a marriage is having kids. And when it comes for couples from your community, adoption
Yes.
is the way. Have you ever felt like adopting, or would you like to do it in the future?
Okay, I think this has been something we've discussed at length, in depth. I think in my 20s and 30s, I would have loved to have a child. But it's now been 30 years since I've been teaching. And when you're around children from 8 in the morning, right from toddlers from nursery, and
I can
dealing with
imagine.
grade 11s and 12s, you've seen the gamut. And the love they give us, the bonds we have formed, just makes you so sure that, look, I don't need to have a child of my own or to one to call my own, because we have thousands of
You
kids who
already
are
have
ours.
too many children in your life already.
It's
Truly
as
is.
I would put it in the modern way, is I don't like to bring my work back home.
Now, this is your choice, right?
Absolutely.
What if your choice was the opposite? What if you really wanted to adopt a child?
Very frustrating, very angering. Yes, if we did want a child, I think I would be heartbroken that my country won't allow me to take in a child and give that child a home. I do find it ridiculous because I did follow the Supreme Court verdict, the entire case, in fact, not just the verdict. And I
You
remember
were
even
disappointed.
massively disappointed because I was expecting at least a civil union, if not a marriage. Because honestly, if everyone's offended with two people in love being married, that's fine. Have it your way. But don't deny us our basic rights.
Okay, now child adoption is a choice, but sometimes life throws curveballs which are not choices. I'm talking about medical rights over here. You know,
Yes.
I learned that maybe people from your community cannot donate blood. It's not accepted everywhere because of certain reasons.
Right.
The idea of the queer community not being monogamous, the idea of the queer community not being able to commit to each other is a myth. I think it's a myth that needs to be busted because I'm sorry, it's been 21 years. I can say that I know a lot of marriages that have broken up. The straight marriage is faster than ours has stayed strong. And the idea that, oh, they're going to be sexually perverted, they're going to promiscuous, they're going to sleep around, they're going to be HIV positive, they're going to have AIDS, they're going to have sexual diseases, they will be Hep B positive, Hep C positive, and sorry, but the same dangers and the same risks are for everybody. When he was unwell and he had TB meningitis, and what happened in the hospital, that was quite shattering.
Yeah, so this was in 2013. I remember, I mean, I don't remember much of it, but I do remember I was hospitalized because of TB meningitis, like he said, and because it was brain fever. Okay, I was in the hospital, and my parents were involved in the whole thing. And I remember it turned into a ugly situation, exactly like you said, because of the whole factor that we are a couple. Okay, of course, I wanted him to take the decisions for me, whether it was, you know, the next MRI I go in for, or the blood test, or whatever was needed.
Or even
that
caring
time.
for
Yeah,
him.
caring
Yeah.
for. Like, I was more comfortable with him taking me, whether it was to the washroom rather than having
Yes.
the nurses or the
Yes.
ward boys take me and stuff like that. But I remember there was a hue and cry over there with my mother and father involved. Okay, because it became an ugly situation, because it became like, no, what right do you have over my child versus me? Okay, and I wasn't in that state of mind or that physical state to tell them that, listen, but I want him to take me to the
So
bathroom. I
Vishal
want him
was
to.
still not accepted by the family
No,
by
no,
then.
no,
Still-
absolutely
is still
not.
not
It's still not
accepted.
accepted.
Let's talk about your love story. How did it begin? How did you meet each other?
Interesting.
So, as I told you, I think I kissed many frogs in the hope of finding my prince and had nearly given up. And we met, as cliched as it sounds, but not on a dating app because there were no apps then, but on a website. So I tried the whole gamut, every single website, looking for people, and all they wanted to do was have a quick fling, and I wanted much more. And then we met online, and he came to Mumbai, and I still
Oh,
remember.
he was not in Mumbai.
No, I
No,
wasn't.
he was in
I
the Air
wasn't.
Force.
Okay.
So man in
Oh.
uniform made me very, very, very happy. So just the idea of having an Air Force person in my life was wow. And we met. He came over for lunch. It was a lunch date at my house. Of course, my parents just knew he was a friend coming over. And very well turned out, very well spoken, came, treated me just the way I would have liked to be treated, with respect, with dignity. And it wasn't about a physical connect at all at that time. He just came in with a bouquet for me and a little teddy bear for me, saying, "This reminds me of you," and a box of chocolates for the lady of the house. And I was just swept off my feet. So we spent the whole.
Anyone would be.
And then a person who looks like that, wow. So we spent the whole evening driving around, and it was around this time, 30th of June, I still
Yes.
remember. And the rains, and it was raining, and we did nothing but just talk, and drove. Went home, chatted all night, and at 4:01 a.m., I told him I loved him. And he was a little shocked. And then
Little is an understatement. I was
I'm
I was
sure.
massively shocked. I was like, okay.
I just told him, I said, look, let's just take it one step at a time. So, in this moment, do you love me? And he said, yes, I do. So I said, can we say, I love you as of now? And you can change your mind a minute later or wake up tomorrow and say, don't love you. And he said, oh, that's easy. I can do it. So it became a standard situation where anything we did and said, for the next few months, he'd keep adding the as of now. And slowly the as of now turned into now.
Now.
So it's like there's no Jiji without Vishal, and there's no Vishal without Jiji.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can see. I mean, we twin. We look the same. In fact, when we travel, we get that. Are you guys twins? And we're like, okay,
Really?
debatable thing. But
So you know what? There is a saying that couples who really love each other, they stay
Start.
with each other. They start looking familiar.
Do we? At all?
Yes.
friends have been amazing. I think his family has kind of come around. My family, like I said, hasn't come around, but
Yeah, my family was not accepting in the beginning. Slowly, slowly, they managed to come around a little bit. They're much, much, much better
So
now.
how is it like when maybe Jiji goes to your home
Oh, it's
for
fantastic.
it's
lunch?
See,
super warm.
it's super warm. I mean, they're very nice. They treat him very well. He treats them very well. So that's very nice. But this is not how I would have wanted my spouse treated. I have a sister, and the way she's treated and her husband is treated is definitely not the same the way he and I are treated.
So to all the Jijis and Vishals out there, maybe who are scared not only to enter into a relationship but even to come out, what message do you have for them?
You don't have to come out till you're ready. Okay. First, I think acceptance of oneself,
Yeah.
loving oneself, and knowing that I am not bad, I am not dirty, I am not horrible, I'm not a monster. Because that's what has been portrayed over the years. It has been told to us, it has been drilled in our heads. So I think first they need to accept themselves. Only when you accept and truly love yourself are you capable of loving someone else. So it's only after I realized that, look, I'm not a horrible human being, I'm not bad, I began to love me. And that's when I had space enough in my heart to love someone else. Because truly, love can move mountains, it can do anything. We just don't believe that it can. So, love with all your heart, and trust me, the universe will open its doors for you.
Subscribe to Midday India. Get direct notifications on all our videos by clicking on the bell icon.